What are the pertinent facts in this case?
John's in the nursing home.
Yeah, John's in the nursing home. What else?
Capacity of care.
Okay. Question about capacity. What else do we know?
Disabled child or
We got a prenuptial agreement
disabled child.
and a disabled child.
Maybe
Sorry,
an
what?
invalid will, maybe?
We got maybe an invalid will.
Jane, yeah, Jane needs $2,000 a month and does not qualify for his pension benefit.
Oh, this is going to be harder work for me than usual. Because I threw away my solution.
Oh.
Okay? That's all right. Okay? I switched material this morning. So let's try and answer. So everybody's kind of got the facts? Okay.
The first husband
Okay. So,
is the beneficiary.
so how are we going to meet Jane's monthly budget needs? How are we going to make sure she's got enough money? Okay? This is supposed to be participatory. Oh, my mic's not on? I can hear me. What's your problem? Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Did I do the Verizon ads? Can you hear me now? Yeah. So Jane needed what, $2,000 a month?
Yes. She can see if she qualifies for his benefit, if it was more, his social security.
He's alive.
What?
He's alive. She can't take his
Oh, that's right.
benefit. Don't kill him yet.
Sorry,
Give him a chance. Okay? So
She can't get his benefit.
we don't have information here about what John or her income is, right?
No.
Okay. So what's the basic premise that we would follow in making sure we satisfied her budget needs? Take her income, whatever it is. If it is not enough, then we can point John's income to her. That's one way we can do that. Yeah? We might not want to do that because we've got $600,000 worth of assets here. Okay? Depending upon what the income differential is, etc., it may be better that she satisfy it from a planning step. Okay? Now, is a prenuptial agreement valid? What do you think?
Medication.
Maybe.
Not with Medicaid.
Yeah, it is valid for everybody who signed the agreement. John, Jane, they're the only signers, so they're the ones who are bound by it. It doesn't bind any third parties. So it doesn't even affect Medicaid clearly, but other third parties, it doesn't matter. So you can have the best prenuptial agreement in the world, and it will not protect your assets from the long-term care costs of your spouse, whether the first, second, or 12th. Okay? So a lot of good reasons for having it. Maybe one of the reasons you have the prenuptial agreement is to require your spouse to carry long-term care insurance, your new spouse. Okay? Or maybe you look at it and say, you know, getting married is great. You throw a big party is wonderful. Maybe we should just live in sin. I hear it's more fun, and we can still have the party. Okay? But they didn't do that. Do we know if he has capacity?
Actually, it makes it clear in the write-up it's not clear.
It's unclear. So one of the things we have to do is figure that out. How would we do that? Any ideas? Now you guys have to deal with this in your own practice. Okay? You're going to do a mini-mental status. That does not tell us whether he has capacity. What that tells us, what a mini-mental does, is it tells us whether or not someone has some cognitive impairment. If they get a 1, yeah, okay, I'm willing to say it shows us that they don't have capacity. But what if they get a 22? They have capacity or not? Probably, but maybe not. Okay? So you're going to have to go out and interview and meet with John. You're probably going to want to talk with his healthcare providers. You may want to have a neuropsych workup done. I mean, it depends on a lot of different things. Okay? So let's assume, for sake of going forward here, that we decide that he's got capacity. Now, tell me about this 1984 will. Is that okay, that 1984 will?
First husband.
No, she has a first husband.
But hold it, what'd she do?
Ripped it up.
She ripped it up, but she taped it back together. So how many of you think that will is going to be acceptable in probate court? No, it's not going to be. It would have been had she not torn it up. Okay?
What about the original copy?
Of the original copy. How about the original copy of the copy? Okay? The court wants to see the original. Period. The fact that you have, and here's the thing, if you're the executor, you're telling the court that you're submitting the original will. And if you're not submitting, now, I'm going to tell you, we have succeeded in a few times in getting something other than the original accepted, but not on these kind of facts. And again, that was because the judge was being generous. Okay? Not, in my opinion, not because he should have. Okay? So, that will's out the window. Oh, and by the way, the Connecticut statute says when you get remarried, any disposition to a spouse, etc., that, you know, predated it, or actually, is she widowed or divorced? I don't remember. I thought she was divorced. On divorce, any disposition to your, you know, former spouse set aside. Okay? So, anytime somebody gets divorced or remarried, they really should revisit their plan. Okay? So what's our next question? So what do we do by way of estate planning documents? What do you think? We've been talking about this stuff all day. What do you think she should do here? Because remember, we've decided that he's got capacity. Okay? What should we do? Update. We should draft all new estate planning documents. Healthcare power, living will, advanced designation conservator, a new will for both of them. Now, so what else might we do? Might special needs trust for daughter? And would that be a first-party trust or a third-party trust we'd create for the daughter? Third party. Okay? Yeah.
What about the veterans benefits? Should we start looking into that?
Oh, well, we got a veteran here?
Yeah.
Wow. So, but he's got too much money.
I didn't think it mattered.
What absolutely does. Because veterans looks at not only his assets, but it looks at her assets. So assets, we have to take that into account. So, but hold it, they're going to spend a lot. They're going to spend a lot of money on his care unless we get him on Medicaid, right? So we could perhaps do for Jane a Medicaid qualifying annuity to generate a lot of income for her. Okay. And so, and I'm sorry, I don't have my written. I had it all written out once with all the pieces, and I switched everything out this morning in a new binder and updated slides. He's not a good candidate for veterans benefits because really Medicaid is a big issue, okay? And what we would do to get the veterans benefits would get in the way of qualifying for Medicaid. We've got, what do we got? Our house. We can transfer a lot of this to the wife. Well, the last question is there, what if John is in an end-stage medical condition? He is literally, he's on hospice, he's on his deathbed. What might we do? I didn't say John was worried about it, okay? Well, what we're trying to do is maximize the wealth for Jane and the kids, right?
We found the solution.
Found the solution in there?
The last page.
You
Very
got
last.
moved? There we go. Okay. Anyway, it got rearranged. It used to be right behind the facts. Okay? So, we're going to exclude the husband, but in Connecticut, if you exclude the husband and Jane predeceases, there's an elective share that if we're trying to do Medicaid planning for Jane, then we have to allow for. And we, in theory, could use a qualifying trust. The issue here is that we've now created a penalty period that we have to be able to pay through. Okay? And that's where we would use a Medicaid qualifying annuity to do that. There is, what else? So we would redo the planning, but because he has he's terminal, very close, if we get everything over on his side, and he owns everything, then he can do planning, so he can have a will, but it is assets in for the benefit of Jane, and they won't count and won't be available for Medicaid purposes. Okay? So, you see, there's a lot of different pieces you have to think about, and then you have to make choices about, is this something that fits me and my family and what I want to accomplish? It's not all just about qualifying for Medicaid, or just veterans benefits. It's not all just about protecting assets or balancing that has to be done to end up with the results that you're happy with.